Hello friends, and welcome to the Hanged Man in the Moon. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, I got a deck that I honestly did not think I would be interested in even showing on camera. It's a redrawing of a Tarot de Marseille deck, which I love, but I didn't think it was going to be interesting or special. I got it because it was fairly reasonably priced, and I thought it would be a good knock-around deck. Yeah, something that's not a collector's item, not something that's going to be spectacular and wonderful and I need to keep protected, but something I could toss in my bag and use anywhere with very durable cardstock. I was surprised. I had to take the bus yesterday because weather conditions here were just crazy. And as I was riding home in the bus, I decided to open this up and just take a peek at the cards. And some things really surprised me. Something surprised me enough that it made me bring this deck back in and decide to do a flip through of it. It's not a particularly special, magnificent deck, but there are some interesting things that I think would be fun to look at together. So I'll turn the camera around and let's take a peek at this. La Véritable Tarot de Marseille. I believe it's produced in Canada. Price is very good. And it's the real Tarot of Marseille. Let's take a look. Hello friends, we're back, and just to reiterate, I had not planned on doing an unboxing or a walkthrough of this deck because I just got it as a knockabout Tarot de Marseille deck. It wasn't very expensive. It had the people with the blue hair, which I think is pretty cool, but after looking at the deck carefully, I noticed some odd details that I just wanted to show you because there are some little things in this deck that are just odd and interesting and intriguing. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it next to my CBD, Tarot de Marseille by Yoav Ben-Dov, because this is a redrawing, a cleaned up version certainly, but it's a very, very standard looking conver deck. Now this deck is a little bit of a hybrid, but even being a hybrid, there are some odd things going on. Now this is a type 2 Tarot de Marseille. Yeah, the conver deck is a type 2. This is not a type 2 entirely, and it's not a type 1 by any means. It's a hybrid. So let's look. These are what the boxes look like. Yeah, tuck box for the CBD, standard US games, cardstock and size. So we'll look at that in just a moment. This is the box for the La Véritable Tarot de Marseille. I think it's produced in Canada, perhaps Quebec. It's in one of those pull-out box, those, what do you call these? Box with a cover, but it's got thumb tabs. So it's actually very easy to open. It's got glossy paper coating, which is nice. It's got a nice little white book. But again, this isn't a real walkthrough of the deck. This is, look at how interesting this one is, kind of walkthrough. So, size, a little bit bigger than a standard US games deck. You can see the thickness difference, right? Yeah. This is the thickness of a standard US games cardstock, and this is thicker. It's a glossy deck. It's coated, very heavily coated, but that's the reason I got it, because this deck is going to be very sturdy. It will hold up to time very well, I believe. So it's thicker, but it's actually easy to shuffle. And I'll show you that at the end of this walkthrough. So look at this. These are the backs of the Convert deck, very standard. Yoav Ben Dov deck, very standard, very plain. These are interesting. I love the colors on this. It's reversible if you shuffle in reversals. But look at the reds and the blues and the plant life. It's interesting and intriguing, but not over the top. Yeah? Lovely, lovely. Now, the interesting thing, I'm going to be doing these decks differently. I'm showing you these decks differently because this deck is ordered in a standard way. Yeah. When we open up the top, the first card is going to be the Magician. And it's going to go through the major arcana and the minor arcana in a standard fashion. This one is backwards. It started with the major arcana. It started with, I know I've reorganized this deck a little bit. How did it start? It started with the major arcana like this. And it started from the back. Yeah, it started from the Fool, then the World. And then went into the Kings. So what I've done is I'm going to put the major arcana back on this side. And we're going to flip these through from the back. And we're going to flip these through from the front. And they should line up. So here we go. We're going to start with the Magician, the Batelier. And here is the Batelier here. So you see, it's very similar to a convert deck. I mean, there are some differences. Yeah? The color of the purse is a little bit different, but when people redraw these decks, they make some corrections because the images are just not that clear. So Yoav Ben Dov saw this shape as being this, and this person saw this shape as being a little coin. Not a big deal. Now we got the different colors of the clothes, very, very similar to a type 2 converse style deck. Got the number at the top. Okay, now this is going to trip me up a little bit. So I put this aside and then I flip this one over. That's right. So we have the High Priestess, La Papessa. Book, yeah. But now look at this. This is one of the things that freaked me out. Look at her crown. Look at this. What the heck is that? Yeah? Is this like the light of heaven shining down into her crown? This happens in a couple of places in this deck, which is just what blew my mind. It's like, what the heck? Divine light coming into her, radiating out into the heavens? Very interesting. However, the rest is very, very similar. They crossed this, they redrew the clothes here to be a little bit different, but we get the idea. Similar expressions, although her face looks a little bit funnier to me. Very, very similar. And yet, what the heck is that? Yeah? Okay, the Empress. Do we notice anything different? Okay, we got white hair, not a big thing. The ground is handled differently, not a big thing. You know? We got a little showing a foot down here, which I like. Okay, but not a big difference. Although notice the green thing at the top of her crown to match the green, and a little touch of green on her crown. Okay, the Emperor. Very standard, very typical. Yeah, the colors here are a little bit creamier, a little bit more on a softer shading, but basically the same. We kept the center panel here, which left on that card in this deck. But basically we got everything here, right? White hair, I like the white hair. You notice that the Empress and the Emperor in this deck have both white hair, showing perhaps age. And then we have the Pope, Le Pape. Yeah, but similar, yeah? Now we got the two people here. We don't have a hand down here, but basically it's the same. Same cross, same columns. I like the additional color in the papal crown. Notice the ring on the hand, which is typical for a papal figure, to have a ring, to be kissed. Here we have the lovers. Now, Sometimes the lover's card is one of those cards that really shows whether it's type 1 or type 2, and these are both type 2. Yeah? No blindfold on the Cupid, the arrow pointing down the same direction. Yeah? 2 women, 1 man. And you notice that in this deck we got the wreath of flowers very clearly indicated, and the laurels on top of this woman's head. Love the blue hair. I love the blue hair. Notice how detailed this deck is for the price. It's very good. Very, very good. And here we have the Chariot. Both of them definitely type 2 chariots. Now, SM, I haven't been able to track down what SM means. The publisher is not SM. I'm sure it's not sadomasochism. The publisher is the original publisher of this deck is Éditions de Montagne. Yeah, so that's not SM. The creator of the deck is Chris Haddar. I mean, the restorer of the deck is Chris Haddar. That's not SM. So I'm not sure what this SM means yet. If you know, let me know in the comments below. But instead of red, we got green. I love that these horses are different colors. And I love that one is red and one is blue. I love that. That intensity of color here is great for the Chariot especially. That intensity of motion. But basically the same, yeah? We got the same. I like that these are the red columns and the blue columns on the Chariot. The wheels are facing the same way, okay? We have Justice. Now watch this. Ta-dam! Now, do you notice in this, can you see on camera? I think you can see on camera. Doesn't it look like the Justice also has that light radiating out from the top of her crown in this one too? Yeah? So interesting. I wonder why they did that. And you notice that this Justice is Eustace with an I instead of the J. And we don't get the lines in this deck as we have maintained in the Yoav Ben Dov deck. But basically the same. Coloration is different, yes. We do see it looks like a foot sticking out, which we don't get a foot here. She looks happier. Now, Yoav Ben Dov softened the expressions of people's faces in his deck to make it more acceptable for a modern reader or modern audience. However, this is probably a little bit more like the original. Here we have the Hermit, l'ermite. Blue hair, love the blue hair. Bluer than the Yoav Ben Dov deck. Yeah? But we got the cane, we got the lantern, similar coloration of the lantern. Yeah, there's a little color choice difference, but basically the same. Here we go with La Robe de Fortune. Look at how blue the creature on the top of the wheel is. That's a very blue creature. Yeah, but basically, again, very similar, very similar. The creature's bottom here is different. They handled the coloration of the fur, for example, is like a armor on the top of the fur color going down. Makes sense to me. And they didn't, yeah, this tail is yellow. They kept the tail the same color as the rest of the fur. That makes sense, a sensible choice for a redrawing, yeah. Here we go with La Force, yeah. No light coming out of the top of her head. Go figure. But I love this red and blue in her hat. I love that. I love the reds and blues balancing out each other. We got a flesh-colored foot instead of a yellow one. We got a very lion-y looking lion. Yeah, instead of a, could be a lion, could be something else. Very definitely a lion in this deck. And Le Pendule, one of my favorite cards. Well, pretty much the same, except for the blue hair. Love the blue hair on this Pendule. But we see the arms are bare here instead of green arms. But similar, yeah. Green branch on the top instead of a pinkish looking one. Okay. Look at the expression on his face. Love that. Okay, now, card 13. Almost the same, right? Yeah, this foot is colored as a skin tone. This bone is white instead of yellow. So colors have been rectified. We got red and blue balanced here. And no skirt. Just notice that. Yes, no skirt. Moving on to temperance. Blue-haired temperance. I love blue-haired temperances. Notice that the pots are different colors. Reddish and bluish. Again, that balance. Which is perfect for temperance, right? Same flower at the top of her head. Basically the same. Now the skirting on the bottom of her bodice, I think that's called a peplum, is a different color, but no problem. Devil. Now look at this one. I think this is one that we want to look at. Yes, okay, so type 2 devil. Type I don't know devil. We got the face and the belly, which is interesting. And notice these could be leggings covering up what doesn't exactly look like genitalia as much as it does look like genitalia here. Yeah, this could be like a Christmas tree decoration. But we got flesh-colored feet, the same colors as the body, which we don't here. So interesting. Yellow flames instead of red. The two imps, very similar. Now just color differences. We got a red tongue. The tongue is colored in. But very much a convert deck. But what the heck? Why did this come in? Oh, and the eyes and the knees. Very similar to a type 1 devil. Okay, the tower. There's an interesting thing here too. Look here. Okay, so we got the people coming out. We got the same weird things that kind of look like bread, maybe, down there at the bottom. The people are blue-haired. I love the blue hair. But notice this. In addition to the flames coming down from above, and we can see that this is definitely a sun. Instead of a blue color, it's yellow. But notice, there's also this bolt of lightning coming up from the tower as well. It's like they're combining two different ideas for the tower, like a type 1 and type 2 mushed together. It's a mashup. And maybe that's what this is, but it's not consistent. Yeah, the chariot, they could have done a mashup of two different types of chariots, or the lover card, two different kinds of lovers, but no, not in those cards. But in this one, we got it. And the star. Now I love this star. I love the blue-haired star. Yeah. Red pots instead of yellow, no big deal. We got the bird and the tree. The stars are in the same positions. Basically the same. Yeah. Her foot is touching the water. Basically the same as a convert deck. And the moon. The moon is definitely type 2. I mean, they could have put a type 1 moon in here. Why not? We got the two dogs. They're the same color. Now the tongues are sticking out. The crustacean is coming out from below. We get the color differentiation between the water and the crustacean, which makes it easier to see, perhaps. Love the blue face in the moon. Blue moon. Okay. We do get differences in the two towers, although they're not as striking as in the Yohavbendov deck. Okay, and here we go with the sun. Typical, yeah. Although we do get interesting color variations in the rays of the sun, but basically the same. Yeah, the wall is filled in here between the legs of this child or this person. Yeah, the wall here kind of disappears, but it's there in this one. And we get Le Jugement, the judgment card. Whoa, I'm sorry, I get too excited. And we've got, it's a darker image, right? But this entire deck is a little bit darker, but I like the colors. I really do. I love the blue hair. Get the halo, we got the crinoline around the clouds. Now, so this is not so much a cloud as it is crinoline, whereas this one looks more like a cloud, but hey, it's not a huge difference, is it? The halo is white. Interesting. Okay, and now the world. I love this world card in this deck. Ta-dam! I love that we've got the blue and red here balancing each other out. I love that. But we got the four beings, blue wings on the eagle, which is cool. Red wings on the angel, which is interesting. This is an interesting color change choice, yeah? And this looks like it's a cloth twisted up, and this looks like it's ground. But look at this. This is one thing I wanted to point out. I just remembered. Look at this. What the heck is she holding in her hand? Is that a Christmas tree ornament? What is that? What is that? Can you see how you can see that, right? What is the world woman holding? What is that? It's so interesting. Okay, so moving on to Le Mat. Le Mat, similar, but interesting color choice changes, yeah? Instead of green underneath these skin-toned leggings, we got skin underneath blue leggings, which actually makes a little bit more sense, doesn't it? But similar creatures. This creature has more of a skin-toned fur, but yeah, same bag, same bells. The bells here, I actually prefer the bells here, the different colors. These are all green bells, but hey, one little change, no big deal. Green for the plants instead of yellow, brown for the ground instead of blue. A little bit more rational. You know? I like the color of the bells on the belt, though. That is interesting. Okay, so no number, title. Look at this. The Ace of Coin. Yes, very similar. Not much to say about this one. Like the colors, like the color choices. The rest of these cards, the minors, are going to have more of this reddish brown in them and the darker colors than the You Have Bendov deck. Just so you know. And here we have Conver Bendov, 1760 to 2010. Now look at this. This is interesting. And the booklet is in French, and I don't read French very easily, so I don't know why they did this. But yeah, we don't have Conver. We don't have any original publisher information here. We have the name of the current publisher. Yeah, this is Bendov. This is Chris Hadar, which makes sense. This was published in 1996. This was published in 2010. It makes sense. But what the heck is this 1181? I have no idea. I have no idea. Are they under the impression that Tarot de Marseille's lineage goes back to 1181? Before the Visconti Sforza decks? Before all of that? Before the Marduk deck came even to Italy? I have no idea what they're thinking. Moving on to the 3 of coins. Oops, sorry, I picked up the 4. Here's the 3. Yeah, very similar. Very similar. Coloration differences, but yeah, 3 of coins. Same floral. You will notice, okay, I should have mentioned it at the 2. Oh, okay, so there is no number on the 2, right. But you'll notice that the small cards, the minors in this deck, are all numbered. No number here. Originally, there's no number on the 3 of coin. There's the 3 here at the top. So reading this deck with reversals is going to be much easier if that's something that interests you. And here we go with the 4 of coin. Look at that. Isn't that brilliant? Instead of fleur de lis, we get this pattern in the center, but, you know, artistic choices. But basically the same, yeah? Oh, these flowers are different. These are actually recognizable flowers, where these look like floral decorations. Does that make sense to you, that difference, what I'm trying to say? Here we go with the 5. Yeah, we got these flowers instead of these flowers. Color choice differences. Basically the same though. And we have the number. Whoops. Here's the 6. Some decorative differences. We got the number at the top. And the 7. Again, we'll have the number, right? and very similar. Color palette's different. Floral decoration is a little bit different. Yeah, there's no red dot in the center of the in the center of the coin, I should say. Sorry, my Rider-Waite-Smith heritage is poking out a little bit. Here we go with the 8. Beautifully done. We, instead of having flowers, we've got leaves here. That's cool. We got the number at the top. And the 9. The same. Practically the same. Except for this. This, I can't figure out what's going on here. Yeah, this looks like a normal decorative item, but what the heck is this? If you have any ideas, let me know in the comments below. What does that look like to you? I have no idea. Okay, so that's one of the interesting changes, you could say. I've not seen anything like that on any other deck. Here we go with the 10, and we still have the number at the top. Now, you notice that there's no decorative item going up and below, yeah, like this here. So there's that change. And there are no decorative items going off on the side. Just the 4, these 4. But this looks like a much more natural flower to me. I don't know. Now, this is an interesting thing. I don't know why the creator decided to do this, but look at this. Now, the Valet de Denier is usually not here, but up here on the side. It's nowhere in this deck. There's no number, there's no name, there's nothing. I don't know why the creator decided to go with it that way, but they did. And you'll notice that this background landscape is all flattened out. We still got the coin down here. We still got the coin in the hand and the 1 in the ground. And the facial expression is a little bit more serious. But this ground is like all flattened out. And the name is poof, gone into the stratosphere. I have no idea. And here we go. Now we're back to normal here. Now we got the name down at the bottom. The ground is black here, which is an interesting choice. I've not seen the ground being black in this card very often. You notice that this is the Chevalier de Denier, the Knight of Coins, yeah? But this person's wand is much more, is simpler, yeah, than this person's wand. We got the scabbard looking thing there at the back. We got basically a similar dressage for the horse. But this black ground reminds us of what? Of the death card, which is interesting. Yeah? I'd have to go back and pull to see where a black ground appears in this deck. I haven't done that yet. It just occurred to me now. Okay, so here, Queen of Coin, very, very similar. Yeah, blue hair instead of yellow. Her scepter is a little bit different, but basically the same, except look at this. Okay, so notice that her clothes or her cloak is kind of wrapped and coiled around in upon itself down here. And it almost looks like there's something inside, probably just the cloth twisted around. How did that cloth get twisted around like that? And we notice that here at the very, very edge, we get the background color showing through, which I've not seen in any other queens. Yeah, this background color. Very interesting choice. Okay, so the King, Roi de Denier. Now we've got interesting choices. We don't get the landscape here, yeah? We've got a really freaky kind of maybe wooden floor. And notice this, it looks like a scabbard sticking down here. I have no idea what this artist was thinking for this portion of the card. Or maybe this is the cloak. But why would the cloak have these lines in it? Very odd, very, very odd. And notice the hat is very different, yeah? The hat looks like it's got a sail or something at the back of it. And for these odd details, except for those, it's almost exactly the same, right? Recolored, but the same patterns. Okay, here we go with the Ace of Wands, almost the same. Yeah, we got red in this one, which I kind of like for a Wands card, yeah, having red. That fire of passion. Now notice this too. Very similar, very similar. The flower is different. It's actually a little bit odd. I was mentioning how natural the flowers looked in the suit of denier, the coins. These look less natural to me. Here we go with the 3. Now notice, instead of the 3 being here on the side, we got the 3 here at the top, which is an interesting choice. Don't know why they did that. Now the 2 is at the top as well, instead of here at the side. Helps if you want to read with reversals, so that's a good thing. And the 4. Now the 4 of Wands, yeah, you'll notice that there we see the background through the woven wands, where we don't see it in most convert decks. And again, these flowers look much less natural to me. And the 4 is there up the top. Here we go with the 5. The 5 of Wands. Again, we can see through the wands. The number is there at the top. Basically the same, except for that. And the 6 of Wands. Here we go. Very similar and yet minor touches of difference, including the number being there at the top. And the 7 of Wands. Look at that. And here we can see the wand through the weaving, yeah? We could see that in the 5 as well. The wand shows through the weaving. And we see this blue right here. Yeah? Instead of it kind of disappearing in the Yoav Ben Dov deck. On the other hand, we don't have those red squares here in this one. Okay, so we have the 8 of Wands. Oops, sorry. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, number is still there at the top. Flowers are different. Looking a little bit more, a little childlike to me. The 9 of Wands. And we can see the wand behind the woven wands in front. We've got a little red and a little blue flower here. No floral decoration on the Yoav Ben Dov deck. And the 10 of Wands. Whoa, sorry, that's not a 10, that's a page. Okay, now notice this, we've got crowns here. That's an interesting addition, yeah? 10 at the top. I wonder why there are crowns. Ultimate mastery, leadership, perhaps? Okay, the Valet de Denier. Very similar, although the hat is different, right? Very similar, though. The ground, again, the ground is leveled out. Just like it was on the first pages that we saw. The page of Denier, right? The ground is leveled out. And here we have the Chevalier de Bâton. Now you see that it's de bâton, de baston. Chevalier de baston. Bâton, not bâton, but bastons. Bastons. So the spelling difference. Blue hair, I like the blue hair. Blue mane too on the horse. Love this rust-colored horse too. And again, black on the ground. So maybe all of the knights were black. I hadn't noticed that before. Maybe the ground on all of the knights are black. But also notice this blue here. What's going on there? Is he walking by a lake or the ocean or something, or a river? Riding by a lake or an ocean or a river? Now, do you notice that it looks like this is the front? I don't know. It kind of looks like a front hoof here for the horse. Like the horse has got one hoof up. But that's weird. That wouldn't be where the shoulder would be. I don't know. Okay. Queen. Royale de Baston. Now here we have baston. Here we have baston. Here we have bâton, baston. So I guess that's where this came from. This creator decided baston was correct, so they used baston for all of them. But instead of rien, we have rien, rien. Instead of rien, we have rien, de baston. Forgive my French, I don't speak it. Crown has a little bit of differences, but basically the same. Oh, except, notice there, it looks like there's water back here, doesn't it? Does that look like water to you? Which we definitely don't see here. Okay, so, roi de bâton, roi de bastons. And here we go, yes. This king has the light of heaven, or a shining, radiating light out of his head. White hair with skin-colored the same color as his skin right at the ends, which is interesting. But this one is pointing not at his heel, but below, to this funky thing happening down here at the edge of his dais. I don't know. That's interesting. And notice this could be a kind of wing structure, whereas this definitely looks like a chair behind him. Okay, so here we go with the swords. The swords. Épée. Very similar. Blue sword instead of red. Not a big deal. I love that these plants are, again, that blue and red balance in this deck. I love that. And the two of swords. Now you'll notice the two is here, but here it's at the top. Again, floral differences, but they're there. They're in the same position. Here we go with the three of swords. Now, you'll notice that the odd number sword in this deck changes color. I'll pull them aside so that we can look at them later. Yeah? So that's an interesting thing about this deck. 3. Here we go with the 4 of swords. And again, we can see through the weaving pattern of the swords at top and bottom here, where we can't in most decks. The 5. The last one was a Caucasian skin color. This one is a blue, a medium blue. And here we go with the 6 of swords. This flower is not even a little bit open. Yeah? The 7 of swords. Sorry. Picking up 2 cards at once. The 7 of swords. Now we've got a red sword here. Interesting. Very interesting. And we can see the sword through the weaving pattern here. But we can see it through the weaving pattern here as well. The 8 of swords. Okay, I'm just going to be habit now. 8 of swords. Flower in the center, 4 in the sides. Basically the same. And the 9 of swords. Here we have a yellow sword. Interesting. And again, the numbers here at the top. The 10 of swords. 2 sky blue swords. Da da da! A red sword and a blue sword. Again, I love that color balance. So let me bring back those swords. Yeah, even we've got this even one, a red and blue, making me think yin yang. But here are the other ones. Yeah, we had a Caucasian-ish skin-colored sword. We had a blue sword, and then a red sword, and then a... Oops, I'm sorry, where's my 9? I'm sorry, the 9. Then a yellow sword, kind of gold, and then a red and blue. So interesting shifts, interesting changes. Okay, so putting these all away, and we move to valet de paix. Basically the same. I mean, color choices. And again, the ground is flattened out in this deck. This looking a little less like a cod piece. This looks a little bit like a cod piece to me, and this looks less like a cod piece to me. But yeah, okay. You go, girl. Here's the Chevalier de Paix. Black ground. Yes, okay. So the knights all have black ground. Blue sword. Look at the detail on the saddle and the halter and all of that. Blue hooves. Love that. Okay. Royal de paix. Royal de paix. Spelling difference here. The title fills the entire space instead of having those lines. And épée, épées. Épée, épées. Now they put the S at the end, making it plural. Sorry, just tossing things around. This queen really looks much more pregnant than this queen, to me. Now you can read pregnancy here, but look at this. The way that the folds are really emphasize the pregnant belly on this side. And notice this. What the heck are those stairs? Kind of like Escher stairs? I don't know. I don't know. Blue hair. And the roi d'épée, roi d'épées. And look, okay, so the roi d'épées also has the light shining up from his head. All of the kings except for the king of coins have those rays of light shining up from their heads. Yeah? The king of coin. Poor guy, no rays of light. But the king of épée and the king of bâton, and you'll see later that the king of coupe all have that light shining up. Now, we notice that it's here too, kind of, but this looks more like it's part of the crown, right? This looks completely separate. I love the red and blue leggings here too. Okay, so here we are with cups. Coupe, very similar, very similar. Color differences, yes, but the design is very, very similar. These balls are a little bit different. Oh, notice this. Okay, yes. I wanted to point this out. Bird. And a little fire symbol here. Looks to me, it looks like a fire symbol. Okay, blue and red. And now notice this. The two of cups. We got the printer here. We got the printer here. Again, SM. I have no idea who that is. I have no idea. I love the tongue sticking out of these two. No tongues here. The three of cups. And again, the number is at the very, very top, right? At the tippy top. Lovely. And the four of cups. Yeah. Basically the same, really. Four of cups. Now, wait a second. I'm sorry. I missed something. I forgot something. I missed it. Okay. Three of cups. Just a moment. So, you'll notice that, okay, this is not important anymore. But, okay, it is important. Just a moment. So, standard cup for the cup suits in this deck looks like this. Looks like this. Looks like this. What the heck are those dots? This is the only cup in this entire deck that has those dots on it. Can't imagine that that's a mistake, and it's not in the standard deck either. Not that I know of. And notice that there's this kind of flame-looking thing here. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting my decks mixed up. Okay. So, here we go with the four. Saw it. Yeah, nothing. Now, one of the things I love about this deck, you'll notice that in the US games, if you look very closely, there is that copyright symbol. There is no copyright on this deck, front or back. It's clean. It's a very modern produced deck, and yet there is no copyright. Love that. Love that. Now, one thing that I'm a little sad about in this deck is the 5. Yeah? Well, no, I'm sorry. I was thinking of a different deck. No, we've got that egg shape here. I like that. 5 coins, very similar. Both very, very similar. Color difference, that's all. 6 of cups. Did I say coins? I'm sorry, I meant cups. Okay, 6 of cups. Here we go. Very, very similar. Just color choice changes. And the flower is different, sure. Okay. 7 of cups. Yeah, it was only that one on the 3, that one cup with those dots. It's so strange. This kind of looks like an ear of corn to me. And the 7, let's see, 8 of cups. I'm sorry, the 8 of cups, yes. Very similar. You'll notice that this flower is front-facing, this flower is kind of faced up, and this thing again that looks something like maybe an ear of corn is there too. And the 9 of cups. We got the number at the top. We got flowers here, no flowers here. But basically the same, except you'll notice that in this card, the plants are growing out of the bottom here. They look like they're growing out of the bottom. Now, I forgot, was there another card that I wanted to show that had plants growing out of it? No, I guess not. I'm thinking of another deck I saw recently, I think. Yeah, I'm thinking of a different deck. Okay, never mind. Moving right along to the 10. Okay, now look at this. We've got a yellow coin, yellow colored top to this cup. The numbers here at the top. None of these cups have those dots. I'm just saying. And you notice that these have blue bands. This only one has the green. That was the only cup in this deck to have that green band. No? None of the cups in any of the other cards have a green band. And moving on to the Valet du Coupe. Okay, open cup. Valet's hat or cup cap, you decide. And notice that. Okay, so here, looking like a very old, looks like somebody's grandfather is still working as a page to me. But you'll notice that this cup is actually covered. Yeah, this cap, I don't know, could be this, but it looks more like the valet's cap to me. Valet, V-A-S-L-E-T, Vaselet. Instead of valet, Vaselet de coupes. And notice there's a dagger here, which we don't really, this could be, I suppose, seen as a dagger, but we got a dagger here. Very clear dagger. And again, that flat ground. Looking more like an interior or a stage. And the Chevalier de Coupes, black ground. Notice this box here at the back. I have no idea what that box is supposed to be. Yeah, looking like there's a sombrero or a big hat at the back of him. He's got a wand here in his hand. It's interesting. I like the emerald jewels in the crown, in the cup. Love the flowing hair, but got flowing hair here. Pointing out differences, that box and that hat. Very different, but notice the color of the stirrups here, which is cool. And the blue hooves. I love the blue hooves that match the blue mane. But this wand, I wonder what that's up with that. Okay, here we go with the Queen. The Queen of Cups. Da 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 da. Now, to me, you see, this looks like a very natural kind of, what do we call that? A covering to her. Her cup is covered and it looks like she's got a covering to her. These look like they are separate and hanging from the wall to me. Does that look like that to you? And it looks like there's a platform behind her, which we don't see here. We got the wand. We don't see a thing at the bottom of the wand that we do here, but we got a wand. Her clothes are more easier to understand in this one. This blue here is a little odd and seemingly out of place, but that's not a big problem. I love this jewel at the front of her crown. I like that it's gold instead of green. Now this card is also interesting. King of Cups, Roi de Coupe. Da 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 da. Okay, so Roi de Coupes. Notice this. First, we notice that there's light coming out of the top of his head. No light coming out of the top of his head. Notice this. And it's when I saw this that I thought, I've got to show this deck. There's a little lid to his cup just kind of drawn in. I don't understand. I mean, I don't get it. That's so interesting. And we notice that there's this little tassel here, which could be part of a cushion. This kind of looks like this king's got a tail to me. I don't know about you, but this king looks like he's got a tail. So those things. Now, and we notice the background color here, but this tail, the cup to the lid to the cup, the light coming out of the king's head or into the king's head. Very, very interesting. Very strange and intriguing. And I love the blue beard. Okay, so what do you think? What do you think of this deck? Is this something you'd be interested in getting? I think it's easily available. If I can, I will put a link in the comments below so where you could purchase this deck. I will show you this deck in action very briefly. I will shuffle and maybe try pulling 3 cards and see what we get. So, what would we benefit from hearing today? What would we benefit from knowing today? Let's go with that. Let's see how, okay, overhand shuffle. So these are glossy. So they overhand shuffle very, very easily. What is a message that we would benefit from hearing today? Glossy, coated. That's what I meant to say. They're coated. Okay, that's where it wants to go. They're coated, so it really does overhand shuffle very easily. I mean, I'm not even trying to be careful, and not even one card flew out of my hands. Let's do one more overhand shuffle just to show you. What is a message that we would benefit from hearing today? Now these are in order, so I'm going to do this a little bit differently. Let me show you riffle shuffling with this deck. I'm not going to shuffle reverses into this deck yet, although, again, you can read reversals with this deck very easily. Watch this. Very easy to riffle shuffle. Very easy to riffle shuffle. These will bow. But it's very easy to riffle shuffle. And if it starts bowing too much, if that starts bothering you, you can always do this. Yeah, that helps eliminate the bow. Or what I tend to do is sometimes do this. Yeah, to help get the cards back into alignment. That works. So, one more shuffle. What is the message that we would benefit from hearing today? And I'm going to cut you into 3 piles. And draw the top card from each pile. Because these aren't very well shuffled yet. So I'm going to do a 3 card like this. Oh, here we go. I don't need to take these off camera. You can do it like this. So, okay, so things are a-changing to something more stable and giving us okay, so how would I read this? Person on the card facing this way emphasizes to me that we want to read this from left to right. I would typically read left to right, but for example, if this card had been a card that were facing, let's see if I can get another court card pulled out just to show you an example from this pile. Okay, so for example, if this card had been here, if it had been this card, I would strongly consider reading from this way to this way, from right to left. This is my style. Yeah, direction in Tarot de Marseille, reading direction is very important for me, and so especially if there's only one person card, be it a court or a trump, I'd be looking at where they are facing, and if one or more person is if the direction mostly faces this way, I would go that way. Now, if there were one here and one here facing each other, I'd read left to right. But since there was only one real person card here, and this person is facing us, this looks like we want to read this way. So, I do want to read left to right. So, what do we get? We got the Wheel of Fortune. So things are changing. Things are changing, but it looks like they're changing for the better. And we want to remember that things are always in flux, and sometimes we're at top, sometimes we're at the bottom. But right now, things seem to be changing to stability. Stable ideas, stable thoughts. Perhaps even meditation or considering things and growing our ideas in a stable mental environment. Now, as things change for the better towards more stability, we'll be able to discover our ability to create anew. Yeah, we won't know what to do with it perhaps right away, but we'll rediscover our passion and our creativity. So this I think, is a very good sign for us. And notice this. This is not unique to this deck, but this hand definitely is not coming from this shoulder. Yeah, he's got two arms on this side of his body. This arm would be coming from right here. So this little mutant is a good little mutant for us. Now, we're moving towards rediscovering our creativity, and then we'll be able to go forward. Yeah, we're looking into the future. How can I use my creativity? What do I want to make? As we enter our stability, we'll be able to discover where we want to go, what we want to make in the future. So friends, what do you think? Are you interested in getting this deck? Again, I'll try to put a link in the description box below. Like this video if you enjoyed watching it, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and hit the alarm bell so you know when I upload videos. And comment below. I really would love to hear from you. And friends, now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.